Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dane and Derek. Back on this Wednesday yet again at the top of the year. It's 2024. This is our first episode of the season, and I'm going to call it Back for More with the number 4.
Back for more.
Back for more.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, everyone. 6 seasons in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is the halfway point.
We are past, yeah.
We are over the halfway point for the seasons, and then it's, we're right in the middle counting the movie.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
That is something.
Yeah. My name is Derek. I'm one of your co-hosts. And I'm here with... Yeah.
I'm Dane. Sorry, we're a little rusty. I think I'm a little thrown off because I'm neither sick nor stressed out of my mind. So I'm like, how do I be normal? Like, right. I'm not fucked up. Yeah. Anyways, so where do we begin this new season, new year? We're recording on. I looked at my watch like there was going to be a date on it.
I mean, what kind of a watch do you have? Is it a smartwatch?
No. It's not even like a digital watch. Like it's like straight up got the hands and everything. It doesn't even have numbers on it.
Oh,
it's just, or even Roman numerals. It just has like clear markings.
Oh yeah.
For like each like section with like a double marking for 12. It's just to like. And then just kind of like lets you imply the rest. Like it's very elegant. Gracie did a good job picking it out for me. Aww. But the truth is, it's does not have the date. So I don't know why I looked at it.
It's January 5th. Yeah,
it's the 5th.
New season, new. Well, we're gonna have new art. We haven't seen it as of today, but we will have seen it hopefully by the time these episodes start airing. Jen is doing another round of art for us, which is really exciting. Mm-hmm. And it's also it's a leap year this year.
Oh, that's right, it is.
Yeah, so expect a leap year episode because I don't think we'll get another before the show is over. Yeah. So we'll have to do a leap year episode.
Yeah, we are gonna have to do that.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the one that I'm like, yes, that should be one we really do
aim
try
for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. See, that's gonna be one I'm gonna have to do research on. Just because like that's a one where I'm like, I don't know a lot about leap year, but I know that there's gonna be stuff. It's a thing where I look at it and I'm like, there's lore there, because it's weird. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Which means that like people tend to like make hay of weird things, right?
Yeah.
Like I know that there's got to be just like a little bit of lore around how people count their birthdays for people born on leap day, right?
Oh yeah.
Like there's got to be even some rules about how that works legally, right? Because like think about it this way, like if you go by the day, then legally you would be like okay, let's say if it's this year and let's say I'm turning 28 because I am, that would make me what, 7?
Yeah.
Right. So like no driver's license, no drinking, right? Like these things, So they've got like, do they have a quote unquote legal birthday so they can have it nice and easy on an ID or something? I don't know.
My mother always said they either round down or round up in the days. That's what my mother said.
Yeah.
But then again, I was like 8 when I asked her that. So
see, but that's decent wisdom. Mothers know things, but that's why I have to do research. I need to know the lore if we're going to talk about it.
That's a good point. And I'm sure there's some interesting lore and some interesting science and wizardry mixed in with that.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Because also it's such a strange choice, right? I don't know. It also gets me like thinking about like the arbitrariness of time, how it's like such a human construct,
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. How are you starting off the year? Do you have intentions? Do you have New Year's resolutions? I know that it's like, it's corny and people don't always do it, but like, I need more corny in my life for one. Two, I do think of it as a decent time it's a decent time as any, right? Like it is a break, like in our culture, like people, the holidays kind of stop things for a second. You often get a chance to sort of breathe. You're out of your norms. You know, I think people kind of underestimate the change in the number and how it makes things feel, you know? And
Yeah.
you know, just things like that. And so like, I don't think of it as a bad time to do it, you know, in the same way that it like, I don't think it's a bad time if you choose to like I'm going to do more different things when the school year starts or when I start this new job or whatever. Like it's all arbitrary anyways. So, you know, do you have any of that or, you know?
So I definitely have like goals or like intentions. I think I think I think you know, I think the traditional New Year's resolutions for me, you know, I think any kind of goal setting at the top of the year, you know, there's always going to be its cliches. There's always going to be, you know, the classic, everyone fails at their New Year's resolutions, you know, kind of messaging that goes around. You know, I know people are doing like ins and outs and stuff on TikTok and
okay, I'm not on TikTok. I'm 1,000 years old.
Yeah,
so
I'm not.
Tell me about the ins and outs.
Oh, I don't know anything about it other than
son of a bitch.
It's your ins for the year, like what's in, and then what's out, like what you're trying to get rid of.
Okay.
I think that's the idea.
Okay,
but I'm not on TikTok either. I just
Yeah.
observe this from people at work. But I think like, you know, there's a billion ways to like do some kind of resolution or goal setting or intention. I think.
And I gotta say, I kind of hate when people are super cynical about it.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, it happens sometimes. People choose to make a change and they do, and it can be silly. It can be little. Like last year, did I tell you about my push-up contest?
You probably did, but then I totally forgot about it until you mentioned it back in December.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, I totally mentioned it then. Logan and I and some other folks you might vaguely remember did a push-up contest. And myself and Logan's wife made it to, we didn't miss a single day. The whole year. Logan, I think, missed 1 or 2 days, but he kept up and he came back. So like it can be done. Like,
yeah,
it can be done. I heard once somebody say that people, I'm going to get this wrong. Overestimate what they can do in a year or what they can, they like, but people like basically like overestimate what they can get done in short periods of time and underestimate what can actually be done in a long period of time.
Yeah.
Like, I think they phrased it as like people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year, and they overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can change in 5. You know, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so like I think people can do it. Anyways, I completely interrupted you and didn't let you actually get to your answer. Continue.
No, yeah. I mean, I have like goals. I have things I would like to do. You know, I usually use the winter break to either work on more movies or sleep or think about like things that I liked and didn't like over the course of the year. And so I have a short list this year. I have a short list, but I think all the things on that list are like long things. So, you know, they're vague, they're long, they require more time, and they don't need a deadline. There's sort of let me just try for the year to get these things done. Obviously, there's still like my day to day, but I kind of feel like the goals I picked this year, which were mostly to do with like my personal life and how I'm spending my time and like where I'm putting my money and and how I'm taking care of my health. Those are all things that I think like they're long goals, but the work can be done within the confines of a day. And it's not that much work to do every day. So I think I think this year's probably the most realistic goal setting I've done. Mm-hmm. I think it was very simple, and it was a lot of it was just kind of like things that I've been already doing that I just want to continue, and just hoping that I stick with it, like going to the gym, and eating healthier, and not buying a bunch of action figures. I don't know. That's not a goal, but because I don't really buy action figures, but it's like it's that idea of like just like minimizing. I think it's all about my goal this year is all about minimizing the things that stress me out. Mm-hmm. And to do that, there are some things I have to do, like work on my health and work on my sleep and give myself more time to do my projects. Because I think when all those things are in shambles, all the things that I get stressed out by are exponential. And so it's more focused inward than it is. It's more focused on an inward output than an outward output, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Honestly, that kind of makes me like the whole ins and outs idea a little bit better, because a lot of what you're talking about sounds in some ways like the like top end goal is actually trying to get something out. But to do that, you actually kind of funnily need to put some stuff in.
It's correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of like that. Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah. What about you? What are you doing with your corny goal structure this year?
So this year I have a couple of corny goals, and I'll get to those in a second. But the funny thing is, because I got sick and because I had to take kind of like a break from my life to do finals and whatnot, basically I had to stop doing a ton of things, and it just so happened to work out that like this week, starting on New Year's Day, was actually a really good moment to actually like reclaim some stuff, like writing and going to the gym and keeping better track of what I'm eating, and like all of those stuff that I was actually already doing, but I had to like put on hold for various reasons. So it felt like I had 1,000 New Year's resolutions this year, like down to like go back to playing piano every day, when in reality it's just I'm just picking up my life again after having put it down for about a month. And so it just happened to correlate. I actually have 3 New Year's resolution corny goals, basically.
Let's see if these goals are popping.
They're really specific. So I did the whole push-up thing last year. 365 is a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
And it's a pain in the ass. And it doesn't, I'm telling this to everybody. It's not impressive. Because here's the thing. If you just started doing it, you could do it. I promise. Anyone can do it. It was a very flexible sort of contest where it's like, if you're sick, do knee push-ups. That's fine. Like whatever type of push-up counts. Right. And by the end, you'll build this endurance such that it's not a matter of, are you strong enough to do 365? Are you patient enough to do 365? Because you can break it up into chunks and stuff. I got to like a maximum single go of 114, and that was a pain.
Oh, wow. That's almost as many episodes as we have.
Secretly, that was my plan all along. I, like Taylor Swift, have been secretly doing this. Sorry. Anyways, the long and short of it is I still wanted to keep doing daily push-ups. Yeah. I just don't want to do a ridiculous number. So I'm just doing 150 every day. That's like 2 sets of 75 if I'm feeling super good. That's 3 sets of 50 most of the time, or 6 sets of 25. It's fun for me because I'm a weirdo. But Logan, because he hates me and slowly I'm realizing this might be my life now, has decided this year is squats. So what I'm learning is that in 3 or more years, I'm going to just have a full daily workout that I do every day.
Wow.
And maybe that's fine. I don't know. Anyways.
You become one of those calisthenics bros.
I guess. I don't know. YouTube. It's ridiculous. but I'm doing those two things. But what I realized is because I looked at it, Logan did this really cool thing where he made these these Excel spreadsheets that like tick up every day that keep track of everything. So I have the grand total number of push-ups in front of me that I did last year. And the number's 66,795. And that's a ridiculous number. It's silly. But what that also is roughly the number of words required to meet the qualification for a novel. So I thought, okay, here's this interesting thing. This is a ridiculous number. This is a crazy thing to have, like if you had told at the beginning of the year, I couldn't have done that many push-ups in a day, right? So it's this cool thing to be able to like look back on and be like, because I started so ridiculously small, by the end of it, it was super, like it feels superhuman, like, but not hard. So it's like, can this be applied to a non-physical thing? And a thing I've always wanted and never really been able to figure out how to do is write every day. And so I'm doing it. I've got a novel that I'm just going to write in this very strange way. I thought at first about doing one word a day, but that was too ridiculous. So I'm doing it by sentence. So today is the 5th. So today I write 5 sentences of this new novel. And I have an idea set. I'm doing research for it like normal. I'm kind of a little bit behind the 8 ball on it. I was hoping to do a little bit more prep work on it, but I'll get an outline together. Right now I'm just kind of like working on the prose. Like these first, I don't know, 100 sentences are probably going to be a lot of throat clearing and me figuring out how to like write in a new voice because it's a new novel. And I kind of do that every time.
Yeah.
And in that time period, I'm reading my source material. I'm working on an outline, all this stuff. And I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna see how it goes. I've decided I'm gonna do space fantasy because that's a kind of bonkers genre. Like, and when I say space fantasy, I mean the cover of rock albums from the 80s space fantasy. I'm talking about swords in space and like fighting a monster, and in the background there's like a Saturn like style gas giant with big rings and rainbows, like that style of space
a real
fantasy.
John Carter of Mars.
Exactly, that kind of vibe. And I'm also doing a lot of like retelling of Beowulf at the same time. So that's what I'm
favorites.
I know. That's what I'm doing with this, and I'm just going for it. And normally I fall off with fantasy and science fiction because I think I get scared, honestly, if I'm being totally honest. I think I get a little scared of it. I think I get a little scared of committing. Like, is this too silly? Is anyone going to take it seriously? Well, if I'm doing this crazy, ridiculous thing anyways, it doesn't have to be good, it doesn't have to be perfect, and I can try and I can play around. So yeah, looking forward to that. That's like the real big one,
very nice
for me at least. Yeah, that's those are my 3.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd love to get less stressed. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd love to.
I think the thing I realized is that like life and myself in particular, I'll always be stressed. But if I can minimize the bad stress,
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Do you think you're always going to be stressed, or do you think you're always going to have something you want to be doing?
I think it's the latter, and I think there is stress that comes from that. Yeah. But I think it's more like, like when you really want to do something, but then something unexpected happens.
Yeah.
Like I think like it's not trying to minimize the unexpected. I think it is trying to minimize everything else. That way, when the unexpected happens, your full attention can be on it, and you're not so distracted. Like
there's give in your life.
Yeah.
So you can absorb a shock.
Yeah.
And I totally relate to that because, I think I've been trying to think less about or find different words to describe the moments in which I want to be doing what I'm doing. I am doing it. There's a lot of it. I wish I had more time for it or something like that, where it's this, like, what's stressful? My fucking evidence finals, because that was a nightmare. That class was horrible. I was unprepared. I didn't know what to do. I was lost. I was scared. Like all of that. That was stress. Yesterday, when I was like, I have this one day to prepare 2 back-to-back D&D games, and this is my one time. I'm not stressed, am I? Is that stress? Or is that something else? Or even if it is still stress, do I want to color it the same way? I don't know.
Right. It's
So
the
I'm just trying to
different
think about
categories
that.
of stress. I think
Yeah.
I'm trying to minimize the stress that I can control. Like my health, and to a degree. Like, you know, whether or not I'm buying nachos or making nachos, you know?
Yeah.
You know, my stress in terms of like, did I double stack my creative endeavors on one day, or can I spread them out?
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think it's just like trying to minimize those things, because I feel like it's so easy to get locked into a rhythm of like being busy all the time. And then when something unexpected happens, it like breaks that rhythm, and then everything falls out of place. And I think I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to have it so like if there's a bump in the road, it doesn't derail like 10 things I'm trying to do. So
You and I chronically are the sort of people who will load up to absolute capacity for the joy of it,
yeah, I think,
and then
yeah,
and forget to leave a little bit of room, you know, like to use a metaphor, like we pack our suitcases so tight that there's no room to bring anything home with for a souvenir or something,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. I'm trying to leave a little bit of room this year, because I think last year there were some moments where I had some room, but I definitely feel like I could have done better, I think. And so, yeah. And I think like, you know, the big like creative endeavor this year, I think, is outside of Dane and Derek's season 4, which is on my list of things to make sure that I do this year. Is, you know, I have 2 movies that I need to try and finish at least, you know, before the end of the year. And I'm kind of committing myself to finishing those before, like, I'm trying to get it to a point where in the second half of the year, I can start to work on the next thing. But I want to take the first half of the year to really get these 2 films to a good place. Because I think I often will do the thing where I start something, or I start like 10 things. To use the analogy, it's like I'm trying to bake 10 cakes, and I just put water and flour in a bunch of mixing bowls of various sizes, and now my kitchen is littered in them. But I run out of time to make the 10 cakes, and you know,
and then you have no cake.
And then I have no cake.
And you have no cake.
And funny enough, by the time people are listening to this, maybe they'll know whether or not I've succeeded at
making a cake,
at making an actual cake, because that's what I'm doing after this, is trying to bake a cake from 3 different recipes.
Oh boy,
because
I believe in you.
I have learned that 1, Jell-O's not vegetarian, and 2, I am allergic to some dyes.
Oh my god, what? You are?
Yeah, to like red dye in particular, and that isn't Jell-O, and so the only other way to go about it is to do stuff from scratch. But
I believe in you.
But there's no easy cake recipe from scratch. So
no, not a
here
one.
we go. But yeah, that is that. I think that's the sort of like outlook on it is, you know, I think like, I don't know, like trying to consolidate the focus too. I think that is the goal of the year. Consolidate the focus on the craft of things versus the getting distracted with other interests. Like at the top of last year, I was trying to make a tabletop RPG, and I spent a good amount of time on it, only to like find an RPG that did exactly what I was doing. And so I was like, this year, I maybe I shouldn't try to build another RPG. I should just enjoy Dungeons and Dragons for what it is, which is another hope of this year. Enjoy some of those more hobby things, because I think the last year or 2, I haven't given myself too much space for that. So yeah, that's, I don't know. But yeah, I think this hopefully will be a steady year. That's what I'm hoping for.
Steady. That's a good word for it. It's a good word for it. Well, that feels like a good place to kind of bring this one to a close.
Yeah.
I do have one thing. Because you're not coming out, unfortunately, anytime soon. And I am not flying out. And feel free to edit this out if you don't want it here. But I want a record of this, as we talked about not too long ago, I think in the 100th episode, as that this is in many ways a record for you and I, and a sort of journal that I intend to look back on one day. I would like to ask you something.
Yeah.
Here. Will you be one of my groomsmen, Derek?
Oh my goodness. Dane, of course I'll be one of your groomsmen.
Thank you.
I would love to.
I would love to have you there on that day. That would mean absolutely the world to me to have you standing up there with me.
I am so honored. Oh my goodness. That is so exciting. Dane.
Yeah.
You're getting the big W, the biggest win.
I am. And that day would not be complete without you there. So.
All right. Of course. I am honored. I'll be next to my brother-in-arms, I'm trying to think of a D&D class combo we usually play, but I can't think of one right now.
Wizard fighter.
Yeah, the wizard to my fighter. There we go.
Exactly.
So, of course. Wow. Man, I'm excited. We'll have to... we can discuss deets off mic, because I'm sure you don't want everyone knowing everything about your wedding.
No. There's no need for that, but... I want this memory.
Exciting. So. Yeah, of course. Wow. Well then, folks, you got to sneak into the personal diaries of one Dane Fogdall here and me. Thank you
Many chapters of life.
Yeah. Yes. Alrighty. Thanks everyone for tuning in this week. We'll catch you in 2 weeks. We're going to try for another 26 this year. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
We're going to make it.
We're going to make it.
Catch you later.
Catch you later.